Hey there guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking to you about how I'm 25 years old and kind of already like semi-retired. For those of you who do not know, my name's Dan. I have this channel called Envision Adventure. I create videos mostly about like travel and adventure style vlogs, about my life as a long-term budget traveler, and I also like to do some filmmaking and photography stuff and kind of sprinkle that in there as well, because it's something I'm pretty passionate about. So like I just said in the intro, in this video I'm going to be kind of discussing a little bit how I ended up kind of feeling like I'm already semi-retired at 25 years old, how I'm able to live the lifestyle that I do, and kind of some of the steps I took to get where I'm at, and just sharing some tips and stuff that I've kind of learned along the way over the past like year and a half of my travels. So about a year and a half ago I set out on my travels, and before then I had been living in Florida with my parents for like 5 years or something like that, and I had been working and saving up money for over a year so I could take this trip to Europe for like a month. And I knew I wanted to travel long term eventually, but I definitely did not know that that initial trip of 1 month would turn into this year and a half of travels. And I kind of just wanted to explain a bit of how I got into it, because I didn't really start thinking about it until a few months ago when I came here to Colorado this summer to work like a regular full-time job to save up some more money so I could keep traveling. And so I'd been traveling for a year at that time, only working in hostels and doing part-time work. I had kind of forgotten that most people actually spend most of their lives working like a full-time job, 40 to 60 hours a week. And they have bills and they have to pay for all this stuff. And honestly, after being out of it for a year, you kind of forget that that's how most people live. Now, out of my year and a half of travels, I've only worked like a regular full-time job for 2.5 months. And that was this summer, and it kind of just dawned on me recently that that's kind of insane. And maybe one would think that like, oh, I have like a ton of money or something like that, but in reality I don't. And I think to end my entire year and a half of traveling, if I were to add it up, I'd say I've only spent like $6,000 to $7,000, and that's pretty crazy, because that's not a lot of money. I figured now was as good of a time as any to share some of my tips on how I've managed to do it. Now, I'm not going to say this is not the only way to do this. It's just what's worked for me, and a lot of it I kind of stumbled on accidentally and out of the pure desire to just want to be able to keep going. So I'm going to get into those right now. First off, volunteering for room and board is like a huge thing that you can do. It's something you're willing to do. I've used a website called workaway.info, and I've just worked in hostels. And really that's something I stumbled upon accidentally in the beginning of my travels. About not even 2 months in, like a month and a half in, I started working at this hostel on the island of Vieques, Puerto Rico last summer. Part-time work, like 25 hours a week, something like that. We got our room and our food provided for us. And I think that when I was living there for 3 months, I spent like no more than $100 a month, because all my expenses were covered. So, and from then, that kind of just like got me in. I met more people, made some more connections, and kind of just kept going with it, and just finding more hostels to work at. And even now I'm still working at a hostel here in Colorado to keep my expenses like way down. So working in hostels is a really big one you can do if it's something you're interested in. If not, you can go on a website called Workaway and just find volunteer work wherever you want to go and start messaging hosts. I do think it's $34 a year now for an account, but I'd say it's well worth it. Next big thing I'm going to point out is minimizing your expenses as much as possible, because if you're not like rich and don't have loads of money and you have like a few grand to live off of for a while, you have to keep your expenses as low as possible. And working for accommodation and food is a really great way to do that, because then you don't have any bills. You don't have to pay for rent, and you only have to pay for like some food. But minimizing expenses, like don't be going out to dinner to eat and spend $20 every night, because that's gonna add up really quick. And for me personally, like I very rarely go out to eat. I basically go to the supermarket and buy all of my food there and prepare all of my own food. And I can typically live off like no more than $40, $50 a week for food expenses, and that keeps you what you're spending like $200, $250 a month on food. So you gotta be really aware of your spending, especially when it comes to food and like alcohol and stuff like that. Now, as a traveler, I do really like going on adventures, and you can blow your budget really fast if you're doing a lot of like expensive activities while traveling. And honestly, one of the main reasons to travel is to go do cool things and experience new stuff, and that costs money, obviously. So for me, if you do watch any of my videos, my vlogs, you can see that I really like to go on adventures and little road trips and go hang out with friends and, you know, do like hiking and stuff like that. So for me, it's all about like trying to find cheap activities that you can do that aren't that expensive. So, you know, I did a couple road trips around Puerto Rico this last visit there, and you know, one of the times I went with a friend of mine, he had a van, so we didn't have to rent a car, and we just split the price of gas. We just split everything, and that made it pretty cheap. We did like almost a 3-day road trip for like, I might have spent like $100. So it's definitely doable, but you have to be very conscious of the things you choose to do, and just don't spend too much money on, don't take tours and stuff like that. It just costs a lot, so I generally don't do stuff like that. Even though you are living on a budget though, do keep in mind, like, treat yourself every once in a while, like even like once a month, go like splurge on something and have a good time, or like get a good meal, because it is good, like, you are traveling, it's good to kind of like enjoy some things that do cost a little bit more once in a while. It's just more about being conscious and aware of your spending and keeping your budget in mind. So it's like, yeah, people can ask me like how I'm able to travel like this, because like they don't necessarily see all the sacrifices and the compromises I have to make in order to live this lifestyle. So, you know, for living in hostels, like I live in a very communal setting, so everything is like shared with people, all the spaces are shared. So it's something you gotta be okay with, but for me, like, I really enjoy it. And right now, I probably wouldn't have it any other way. So yeah, those are kind of like some of my tips, like 3 tips that I could give for, you know, trying on a budget and not really having to not having to work a full-time job, and just being able to work like part-time, work on your own stuff, and, you know, be able to really enjoy your life and have plenty of free time to do things that you really care about. If you are interested in hearing more about my travels, more tips about budget travel and living on a budget and traveling on a budget and working in hostels, and, you know, want to see some more like adventure and travel style vlogs, then definitely subscribe to my channel below. If you have any questions, you know, feel free to leave them down below in the comments, and I'll definitely get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.